Sprouts are hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and as you said, contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. So I'll explain all those words. Hydrating. As soon as we get thirsty, we're starting to get dehydrated. So sprouts are juicy. They have a lot of moisture in them. So eating sprouts, we get some moisture. Hydrating, alkalizing. So in an acidic body, that's where disease can take place, including diabetes and cancer.
Welcome to Thriving with Diabetes, the podcast where we empower people with type 2 diabetes to live their best lives. I am your host, Gamden, a holistic wellness coach, helping people overcome challenges related to type 2 diabetes. As a holistic wellness coach, I have dedicated my passion for health and wellness to helping people like you navigate the complexities of type 2 diabetes. I believe that with the correct knowledge, support, and mindset, you can lead a more fulfilling life while managing your health condition. Living with diabetes is not easy, and it is important to acknowledge the difficulties you face. But remember that you have the strength and resilience within you to rise above these challenges and thrive. In this episode of Thriving with Diabetes podcast, we are talking about sustainability, LAFA, and holistic wellness. Our guest today is has a unique perspective to health and environment. Our guest is Cathy Nesbitt, a passionate advocate for sustainable living and holistic health. Cathy brings a unique perspective on how sprouting, composting, and loving can positively impact not just our environment, but also our physical and emotional wellness. Throughout this episode, you will learn actionable tips, practical actions, and the connections between sustainability or sustainable living, LAFA, and overall health. I'm excited to have our guest with me today, Cathy Nesbitt. As you know that our podcast is about empowering people with type 2 diabetes to lead healthier and more fulfilling lives. And having an expert like Cathy on our show helps us achieve that goal. It is always inspiring to learn about our guests' perspectives and experiences. And before we dive into our discussion, I would love for Cathy Nesbitt to introduce herself, share some background about her and what she does. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Cathy to introduce herself. Cathy, welcome to Thriving with Diabetes podcast.
Thank you so much, Camden. Thank you. And thank you for your work. As you know, diabetes is a global epidemic. I mean, it's affecting a lot of people, and not just the people with diabetes, but their family and everybody. So thank you for the opportunity. So I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto, largest city in Canada, and my working title is Cathy Crawly, Laughing Bean Queen. Simple solutions for today's challenges to live a beautiful, sustainable life. Yeah, so that's me, and I mean, it seems so random. Worms, sprouts, laughter. What do they have to do with each other? But they really are a piece for us to be live a beautiful, healthy life
Brilliant.
going
Thank you
forward.
for sharing that. Kathy, you have had an incredible journey as the founder of Cathy's Crawly Composters. Can you share with our viewers and listeners how your mission to promote sustainability and your personal health journey have intersected or met? So maybe what inspired you to start this unique project?
Well, I'm divinely guided. I received a message from above. So I am located north of Toronto, largest city in Canada. In 2002, our landfill closed. It filled up. The landfill filled. And we started, although Canada's a pretty large country, we couldn't find a spot to site a new landfill. And we started to export our garbage to the United States. And it breaks my heart. It's just, that's not a solution. That's just a little Band-Aid. You know, it's kind of what government does. They come up with these solutions that aren't solutions. And I really had a beautiful solution, which was indoor composting with worms. If you live in a condo, apartment, townhouse, you might not have space for outdoor composting. So you bring the worms, you bring the nature in the house, and it's not easy. It's not an easy business to sell. Again, that's why I think 21 years I must have been divinely guided to do this business. And yeah, so I just set forth. I started to have a table wherever I could to educate people about this beautiful idea. And just so you know, Gamden, or anyone's listening thinking, worms in the house, ew, gross, that's how I felt. I was introduced to the concept in 1993 when I bought my house. I moved out of Toronto, bought a little house out of town, and I couldn't wait to start gardening and composting, growing my own food. How wonderful. So I was kind of already there because I was a composter. I knew the value. And then a teacher friend was going away for the summer, and she asked me to look after her worm bin for the summer. I come from a place where I think that we should try things for ourselves. People will say to you, oh, you won't like that. Like, good, thanks for saving me the time. We got to try things ourselves. We don't know. Imagine if I listened to people and I didn't do it. I wouldn't have even had this beautiful life that I have now. So try things, people. So I took on the challenge. I had the worms in the house. It was a disaster. Was a fruit fly farmer. There's no market for fruit flies. They're hard to catch. They die in a day or two, and nobody's buying them. So I say that. So the worm composting it's in a container, so the worms are contained. They eat our food scraps and our paper, carbon and nitrogen, and they convert that into nature's finest fertilizer, black gold, that we can then apply to our gardens. So the worms are playing a wonderful role in waste management, soil production, and food security, all in this little worm. And it's like the solution has been there the whole time, waiting for us. What I realized when I started my business was people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. And they didn't want worms in the house. Not both parties, say. Not the whole family was in agreement. So I realized early on that, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to take action. I need to do something else. So I started to do school workshops and educate. And I was like, okay, now I just need to wait 20 years for them to have buying power. I made it. Yeah, so it's been quite a trip. And any entrepreneurs listening, you add other things as you go along. Like, oh, people don't want this. Okay, what else can I do? And so I just kind of ebbed and flowed because I knew this was a great solution.
Amazing story to share. So we shouldn't look at it as a complicated thing. Even like a simple thing, you need a bin, and the leftover from fruits and vegetables, maybe some dry leaves out in the garden, just put them together. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. It's just like outdoor composting, same idea, except it's done inside with worms, and they're, like I said, in a container. The carbon inside would be shredded paper, could be leaves, but if you live in an apartment, you might not have access to leaves. So you can use egg cartons, the drink trays that you get from the coffee shop, cardboard. There's a lot of materials that we can use. And then the nitrogen is our food scrap. So, banana peels, apple cores, potato peels, coffee and tea. A lot of material. So whatever you've got, you can add that in. And if people have, little guinea pigs or hamsters, they can also put the bedding from those animals in as well, rabbits.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I think that you have received some awards and have been recognized for your contributions towards the environment. Why don't you share something about that with us today?
So beautiful, yeah. So I chose media as my marketing strategy because I realized again early on people didn't know what I was doing. They didn't understand what worm composting is. Why would they have worms in the house? And I came up with an expression: without awareness, action is impossible. And it has to do with anything that you don't know about, you're not doing it. But it really had to do with my worm business. If you don't know you can have worms in the house, then you're not doing it. It's bad for business. So I did choose media as my marketing strategy, and I was nominated for an award early on in my business. When I received the award, when I won, then I got more media. So it was just a way to get attention. So then I really sought out, and this is again, another tip. I know it's not a business show, but I'm sure there's business people watching, that, if you have a business, it's not enough just to have a great idea. People need to know about it. So winning awards or even being nominated is a great way to get attention. The nominees get noticed, and then if you happen to be the award recipient, then it gives you another opportunity to raise awareness about your cause. So I've been blessed with, oh my gosh, I think we're 17 or 18 awards now. Entrepreneur of the Year from a local Chamber of Commerce, from the Universal Women's Association in Canada. I received Changemaker Award last year. So over the years, I've just received so many awards, which again, it's not about the hardware. It really is not. And at the beginning, I kind of got shy. I was like, oh my gosh, people don't want to hear about this. So I went away for a little bit. And then I realized, oh, it's not about me. I'm the messenger. I'm the one bringing this message. I need to share this. So the awards, I'm really blessed again, as I said, having received these awards, and it just helps get the message out, because without awareness, action is impossible. And I do believe worms are going to play an ever-increasing role. And how does this relate to diabetes? It totally does, because our food, as you know, plays a huge role. It's our fuel. So if we're putting bad fuel we would never put sugar in our car, but we fill our bodies with sugar because it tastes so good. And our brain is like, oh my gosh, that's so good. And then we get addicted to that.
Brilliant. Yeah.
The worms don't like sugar.
Thank you for sharing that. So about the awards is not just about the awards themselves, but it is about the impact on people's lives and the environment as well. This will lead us to the next part of this episode, which is sprouting. And you know that sprouting is a fascinating topic, and you are an expert in it. I know that you call it the nature's original fast food. And if I can remember that last time you said there are about 100 times more digestive enzymes in sprouts than raw vegetables. Can you explain to our audience the benefits of eating sprouts, both in terms of like overall health and diabetes management?
Absolutely, yes. Oh, sprouts are a huge part of my health plan. 2002 was a big year for me. I started my worm business, and my very first event that I was exhibiting at, I met a gentleman that had this sprout growing. It's the size of a dinner plate, and it looks like a spaceship. So it's a little microclimate, and that's why it works so beautifully. I didn't know anything about sprouts or sprouting in 2002. This gentleman was a professional ballroom dancer. He was 72 at the time, super healthy, vibrant, 72 and still working these shows. It's not easy. If anyone has ever exhibited, you're putting you're passionate, you're there, you're exhibiting, and people always want a discount. It's they think this is just your hobby. Oh, isn't this nice little thing you have going on here? So you really have to have kind of a thick skin to be an exhibitor sometimes. So very first event, I met this gentleman. I don't need to know why something works. He was super healthy, and so I said, wow, what are you doing? That's beautiful. What is this thing? So let me tell you about sprouts, and I'll tell you about the process in a minute. I'm going to sound so smart, and I am. Sprouts are hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and as you said, contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. So I'll explain all those words. Hydrating. As soon as we get thirsty, we're starting to get dehydrated. So sprouts are juicy. They have a lot of moisture in them. So eating sprouts, we get some moisture. Hydrating, alkalizing. So in an acidic body, that's where disease can take place, including diabetes and cancer. Sprouts are alkaline, so they're helping to balance the pH in our body. Are they the only thing? No, but they certainly are just a piece. Hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative. So Alzheimer's is a degenerative disease. So it's kind of breaking down our cells and whatever. Can sprouts grow back our memory? No, but imagine if it can slow the progression of Alzheimer's. How beautiful, and helping to regrow our cells. Beautiful. Hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic. One of my favorite ones. The enzymes are my favorite piece about the enzymes, about the sprouts. Biogenic, so I have a lot of energy. I've been out eating sprouts every day for 21 years. I'm high energy, have no health issues, take no prescription drugs, no multivitamins. I eat sprouts every single day, first thing in the morning, to start my day for the enzymes. So biogenic means life force giving. When we eat live food, we get the energy from the plant. And the enzymes, so up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. When we're born, we're given a certain number of enzymes. I don't know how many, some. When we're eating, and when we're young, we're infallible, or we think we are. We can eat what we want, do what we want, all is well. And that's sort of true, but not really. It's the accumulation of things. That's what, if people can understand, especially young folks, if they can understand that eating goodness every single day adds up, where if, say, we're eating a chocolate bar every day, that's, it seems like, oh, it's only one chocolate bar, but every day, you think if you do that every day, that's 365 in a year. So it adds up. Where if we say we eat sprouts every day, that also helps us to become healthier. So the enzymes, if we're not eating raw vegetables or sprouts with our meals, as we age, and it's getting younger, the age is getting younger, we get digestive issues. And you probably see a lot of people in your practice. When we get digestive issues, we may go to the doctor, and the doctor will say, here's a prescription for enzyme pills. Instead of taking a pill, wouldn't it be better if we ate enzymes in our sprouts? So we just grow them ourselves and then eat them. And that's what I'm advocating, is for people to grow their own sprouts. Because maybe 10 years ago or so, there was an article in our local paper that said sprouts were toxic. So when I talk about sprouts, people say, oh, I heard they were toxic. At that point, I'll hold up. Sorry, I just have to clear my throat. One second here. So when the sprouts, when people say sprouts are toxic, I hold up a bag of beans, just seeds, and I say, if sprouts are toxic, we are doomed, because all plant food came in seed form. It started in so it started in seed, then it sprouted, and then it grew into a full-grown vegetable. So if sprouts are toxic, we're saying that all food is toxic, and that's not true. And so how sprouting is really a simple, I say sprouts are the original fast food, because you take your seed, you put it in water. There are different systems. I have a beautiful system, but there are so many simple systems. You can grow sprouts in paper towels, just in jars. There's lots of different ways. Just do it. So you add water. The seed comes to life. It's like it's dead. It's just waiting there to start its life. Once the water gets added, then it's like, ooh, and it kind of comes to life. Then the hull will break, and the root comes out. And then once the root comes out, then the plant will start to grow. Once the root is the size of the seed or the bean, that's when it's most nutritious. That's when it's got everything it needs to grow into the full-grown plant. The longer we leave it, the longer you let it grow, the less enzymes, the less nutrients that it has, because it's like, oh, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that. So things start falling away. Not that we can see things falling away. And so eating the sprouts in that form gives us the enzymes. So our body, the rest of the food that we eat, will be properly managed in our body because we've got those enzymes. Do you have a question?
How long does this process take? Is I think 5 to 1 week, 5 days to 1 week?
Well, in my system, it's beautiful. In my system, I sprout mung beans is my health plan. So the bean sprouts in Chinese food, the long beans, those are mung beans. They call them bean sprouts because mung doesn't sound very nice. So mung beans are the fastest. So they'll grow in my super simple sprouter. They grow in 24 to 48 hours. So almost overnight. In the summer, it's the heat and humidity. So in the summer it grows 24 hours, and in the winter I keep my place cool, so it would be 36 to 48 hours. And so I'm doing this. So in my sprouter, it's plastic. It's got a stainless steel mesh. You just put your beans on. They're not soaking in the water, so the water is kind of just below. And the root is searching for the water. So you rinse the beans twice a day, pour off the water, rinse the beans, replace the water, replace the dome. The dome makes it a little microclimate. That's what makes it so effective. And you're rinsing because beans. So sometimes we're told to eat beans, but sometimes people get bloated or they get flatulence. That's because there's a coating on seeds and beans called phytic acid, PHY. It's this acid that causes trouble for us. That coating is a protection for the bean or the seed. So if it gets eaten by a bird or an animal, it can pass through and still grow, still live out its life. So if sometimes when we are cooking beans, we're making bean soup or bean stew, or lentil, dal or something, we need to soak the beans first. We soak the beans overnight or for a few hours. That will get rid of that phytic acid. We need to pour away that water. sometimes the environmental conservationists are saying, oh, I'm going to use that water because I want to conserve the water. No, we need to discard that water because that contains the phytic acid. That's, our body doesn't know what to do with that, which is why we get bloating. And then when we sprout the beans, it produces fewer oligosaccharides, which are the sugars that causes the flatulence or the bloating.
Okay, brilliant. The process is simple, and now you just mentioned that rinsing or soaking beans, even for normal cooking, and is very important.
Yes.
Just to highlight what you mentioned about the benefits about sprouting, you mentioned that they help with hydration, alkalizing the body. They contain more than 100 times digestive enzymes, and they balance our pH in the body. Right.
Yes. Can you imagine so many things in a little bean? It's so beautiful. So how does this, again, this is my health plan. So I've been eating sprouts for 21 years, and I don't go a day without sprouts. And all different sprouts. So you asked about how long it takes. The mung beans are the fastest. You can sprout all the beans and the seeds. Chickpeas take 2 or 3 days, depending on your system. Lentils, again, 2 or 3 days. Radish sprouts, you want to grow them into little microgreens. The difference between sprouts and microgreens, it's kind of just semantics. It's just like words, right? People call alfalfa sprouts, but they're kind of microgreens because once the sprout has a couple of leaves, now they're considered microgreens. That's all. They've got different properties. Now they've got chlorophyll. Once they've got the leaves, so the chlorophyll is great for our blood. It's great for oxygenating our beautiful bodies. There's a lot of properties in eating microgreens, and it's all fine. Just eat them, just grow them and eat them. And they, each of the beans, of course, have different tastes, but they have different quantities of properties. They all have protein. If people are looking for a meat replacement or looking to add more plant-based meals into their diet, sprouts are a great alternative because they do all have protein. Different ones have different amounts. Lentils are beautiful, protein rich. Same with chickpeas. And chickpeas have that beautiful mouthfeel, like they're kind of like peanuts, that nothing really happens to them. You can sprout your seeds, if your chickpeas, if you're making hummus, for example, sprouting your chickpeas first rather than using the can of chickpeas because they're cooked, so they're raw, they're dead. They have sodium and preservatives. So if you take your chickpeas, sprout them, so you need to do some planning, like, oh, I'm going to make hummus. Not today. You got to wait 3 days for your chickpeas to sprout. But right, so it's cheaper because you're buying the dry beans, the dry seeds, so you save money. They store, so you can actually have a nice little cache of food. I have a life supply of food because I buy the beans by the ton. So I have a ton of beans waiting there. I hope I don't get a flooded basement. I'll have a sprouting party. So you take your sprouted chickpeas, use your same recipe for your hummus, but imagine now it's got all those enzymes. It's alive. It doesn't have the sodium and preservatives, so it's healthier for you. And when we're making sprouts or when we garden, whenever we grow food, we're not wasting that food because we spent effort to grow it. And it's so satisfying when we grow something and then we eat it. It's just such a beautiful thing.
Thank you for sharing these great information and advice. Very helpful. I noticed that even in your videos, you use laughing more often. This will lead us to the next part of this episode. So as you know that laughter is often underestimated as a wellness tool. And when laughing, we secrete happy chemicals such as endorphins. I think you are implementing laughter as a daily practice, and I noticed that you post about it regularly on social media. Can you explain how laughter positively impacts mental and emotional health?
Absolutely, thank you. Yes, have you ever heard laughter's the best medicine? Oh, you've never heard the expression laughter's the best medicine?
So I will hear it from
Okay.
you.
Oh, you're okay. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. So laughter is the best medicine. My next question is, have you had your daily dose? So you talked about the happy chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Yes, dose. and laughter, we can live without food and water for a few days. We might be grumpy and uncomfortable. We can only live without oxygen for a few minutes. And when we're stressed, we're not breathing properly. We do that shallow breathing, like panting like a dog. And we're living in a perpetual state of stress today. There's so many things going on in today's world. Even before 2020, even before the shutdown, even before the current wars, life was really busy and really stressful. Like, am I going to have enough money? What about, where are the kids going to go to university? Food is expensive, just all of these things. So since 2020, that's been increased. We have this global mental health tsunami. So laughter forces us to laugh. You can't just ha 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 because we're exhaling. Ha 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 ha. You would run out of oxygen. You would pass out if you didn't breathe in. So you need to, in order to continue laughing, you need to, and then you can continue ha ha haing. So laughter really does. So our brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body, just as an operating principle, because it's the answering machine. Or it comes up with solutions. So when we're stressed, we don't need our brain. Right? We need to just get out of that stressful situation. Our amygdala, the stress center in the brain, has not evolved since prehistoric times. So although everything else has come along, when we go into stress, our body acts as if we're in imminent danger. Losing your keys or missing the bus, it's a nuisance. It's probably not life-threatening, but our body acts as if. So now our body's awash of cortisol, adrenaline. We're not breathing. So it takes hours for our body to recover from a stressful episode. And now we're living in that stressful state. What does this have to do with diabetes? When we're stressed, I recently heard that our body uses 80 to 90% of our energy every day in digestion. When we're stressed, we're not digesting. As you know, we have two nervous systems, parasympathetic and sympathetic. Sympathetic is our stress response. So when we're in our stress nervous system, that's where we are. We're just trying to get away from that danger, even though it's not a danger, it's only in our mind. We need to be in parasympathetic so that we can rest and digest. And somebody said to me, well, every show on TV, when there's a breakup, somebody goes and they stress eat. A lot of people stress eat, so they must be digesting. I said, no, they're eating. Yes, it's going in and coming out, but it's not being properly processed in our body. So we're actually causing more stress to our body when we eat, when we're under stress. I know you know this, right? As a health practitioner, what you're doing, you're helping people. So when we need to actually get out of stress, and laughter is the fastest happiness hack. it brings us totally to the present. When we're laughing full on, ha 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 ha, we are present. We're not thinking about that thing that caused us stress. We're not thinking about that meeting we have coming up tomorrow. How am I going to pay my bills? Oh my gosh, that car accident. We're not thinking about any of that. We're right here, right now, and we're secreting all those love drugs. So our body's oxygenated, the love drugs are careening through our body, and we feel good. When we feel good, we do good. And we make better decisions when we feel good.
That's right. Thank you for sharing these great advice and tips. So we know that stress cause our body to produce the stress hormone or cortisol, which rise blood sugar levels. This is the first thing. So when we stress, I mean, when there is a stressful situation, we put our body under stress, and so using laughter as a coping mechanism can help with that. So it's a simple process, as you mentioned. So it involves as well like a deep breathing before we release the way we laugh, just for a few seconds. So how can people combine laughter into their daily routines for better health and wellness?
Thank you. Yes. So let me talk about laughter yoga. So it's not doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing for the health of it, laughing as an exercise, deciding that we're going to laugh. So yes, the yoga part of laughter yoga started in 1995, laughter yoga, by a medical doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria, and his wife, Madhuri. She's a yoga teacher. So they combined the laughter. You know, he was writing Dr. Kataria was writing an article for a magazine about laughter as the best medicine. And as he was researching, he discovered all this research about that laughter is the best medicine. So he thought, if laughter is the best medicine, why don't we just laugh? And he found only 5 people in India to go and laugh with him in a park. And I think that's funny. And so they were telling jokes at the beginning. They were in a park telling jokes. But as you know, jokes are cultural. So after a couple of weeks, the jokes started to become off color. They're about somebody. It's not funny for the person that the joke is about. So they said, okay, we didn't sign up for this. We're not coming back. He said, come back. I'll come with a solution. So he got a download that night. So, wow, children just laugh. They're just playing around. Why don't we bring that in? So laughter yoga is a series of little games to inspire the laughter. There's clapping and chanting. So when you're clapping palm to palm to activate the meridians. It gives you energy when you're clapping. And there's a rhythm. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and the words are ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And so how can somebody incorporate this into their daily life? It's a challenge laughing by yourself. Even as a laughter professional, laughing alone, it's kind of boring. Laughter's contagious. It's meant to be done in a group where we're making eye contact, we're looking at each other. It's contagious in a good way. We feel each other's energy. It's high vibration. So when we're laughing, we're connected, we feel good. There are laughter clubs around the world online. You can laugh 24/7. And I think, looking back now, I believe that Dr. Kataria started laughter yoga in 1995. So his goal is world peace. World peace. What a great mission. Can you imagine? There are clubs around the world, thousands of laughter clubs. North America is a late adopter, so yoga's kind of just arriving here. Laughter yoga is still in the ocean. It's still coming. So 2020 hit. The world shut down. And before 2020, there was very few opportunities to laugh online. Like everything. Now we've all pivoted. We're all online now. And oh, what a gift. At first it seemed, how can we laugh online? Like, we need the connection in person. But as you know, energy translates. You can feel it in the Zoom room. And it works beautiful because you have it on gallery view. Everybody can see everybody. As the laughter leader, you lead the way, so you encourage people to look at each other. And it's not jokes or comedy, so we're putting it on. If you don't feel like laughing, what we say is bring your able body and we'll make you laugh. Because it's deciding. The body doesn't know the difference between real and simulated laughter. The brain does. The brain is the thinker. The brain's like, hey, the ego's job, the brain's job is to keep us safe, conserve energy and keep us safe. So just like when we go to that family function and then you get into that common thing, like your brother or somebody will say something and you get into that regular routine. Oh, now you're in the fight again. Because the brain's like, oh, I know what to do here. So it just reacts. We can override our brain. It's beautiful, right? I think it's something like 5% is conscious brain, 95, I don't know if the numbers are right, is subconscious. So we're being driven by our subconscious, which is what knows what's right. How does our heart just pump? It just does. We don't do it. We're not like, okay, pump again, take a breath. That is all happening without our awareness. So that's why we can override our brain by just laughing. When people come to a laughter club for the first time, it's awkward. It's very weird because it's like, oh, there's no jokes. What's happening here? Why am I laughing, right? And so that little voice in your head might be piping off, hey, stop it. We need to just keep on going. I say to people when it's their first time, allow yourself permission, just play full on. You'll be glad you did. And then I say, anything that we do for the first time is awkward. So plan to go twice. The second time, your brain will be like, oh, I know what to do here. And when I first started laughter yoga, I thought this clapping and chanting was very, like, why are we doing that? That's so weird. Have you heard of the experiment by the researcher Pavlov, where he would ring a bell and he would give a dog a treat. The dog would start to salivate. Eventually, he didn't need to give the dog a treat. He could just ring the bell and the dog thought, oh, it's time for the treat. That's what the clapping does. It primes our brain. So people that are very serious and in their head, laughing for nothing, that's really hard for them. So giving them something to do with their hands, it's a beautiful thing. It just is like, okay, good. They don't have to think about, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm just laughing. So when laughter professionals come together, we don't need games. We don't need anything. We just come to laugh, and it's so beautiful.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Now, people who are listening to this will find that laughter can be helpful in terms of stress management, using it as a coping mechanism. So especially when someone is stressed by any situation, like financially, work-related issues, health, or anything. So you are recommending them to combine them as part of their health routine, if you can say that.
Yes, part of your exercise regimen, absolutely. And I laugh every day. I laugh every day. I would love to tell your listeners, your viewers, about my laughter club. I have a free laughter club online. It's every Tuesday on Zoom, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. 30 minutes of super fun self-care. And as a laughter teacher, I incorporate tapping, emotional freedom technique, brain gym, qigong, all kinds of healing modalities. This is my gift. I needed it. I started my laughter club in June 2020 because I needed it. uh, too much time to think. So I was like, oh, what can I do? I'm going to start a laughter club because I needed to connect with people. So I get people from around the world. 20 or 25 people come every week. Different people. So don't think you have to come every week, but do. I have classrooms come. I have folks with special needs come. I have long-term care. This is something for everybody, really. This is something that connects us. It's free. It's waiting in us to burst out. And I believe that laughter was squished out of us because you can't control people when they're laughing full on. Like when people are laughing, ah ha 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 ha, we're totally connected, we're present. And we do good when we feel good.
And it's very good that you mentioned live your present moment, not the past, not the future, just live this moment.
It's all we have. It's the present. And I know people have said that before. It's a gift. It's right now. Just be here right now. You can't change. Back to diabetes, you can't change what happened, whatever happened to get you to where you are today. How wonderful that you can take action to move forward in a direction, because laughing helps us. Again, I have rock hard abs from laughing, because when we're laughing, our diaphragm is connected to our internal organs. So when we're laughing, we're doing internal jogging. It moves our body. So we get in shape just from laughing. It's a cardiovascular workout, but you need to do it. Laughter is the best medicine. You need to take the dose. You need to do you need to do the action. And then eating, of course, you need to eat properly. You need to drink the water. You got to move. So it's all of these things. It's not one magic bullet. It's doing a whole series of things every day. It's the bioaccumulation effect of doing these practices. And when we feel good, it wants us, we're inspired to take more action. Like, oh, that feel good. I feel good today. And when we're laughing, our body is having a party. We're oxygenating our beautiful vessel. Another thing that it does, this is something I know you know, but we have a heart to pump our blood. We have another fluid called lymphatic fluid. Lymph only moves when we move, or when we're doing deep diaphragmatic breathing, or laughing. So when we're laughing, we're moving our lymph. We're oxygenating our body, we're connecting, we're looking up, we're feeling good. So there's so many benefits to all of these things that I'm offering, and they're simple. Before 2020, I felt like a juggler. Like, I've got worms, I've got sprouts, I've got laughter. What do you need? I have it. And then 2020, again, all that time to think. Oh, and I realized these three seemingly separate strands go together for a beautiful life. Maybe someone doesn't want to have a business and all those things, but these are all the things that I do in my life. There's no really work-life balance. It's life. It's just life. And this is what I do. I have worms. I don't have worms in my belly. I have worms in my house. I garden. I grow my sprouts. I eat my sprouts every day, and I laugh every single day. And that's what I'm encouraging people to do. Just live your beautiful life. It's worth it. We need you. We're all part of this beautiful global mosaic, and we need every single one of us that are here to play our part. Like, we're like a big giant jigsaw puzzle. We need for the puzzle to be complete, we need to be whole, and we need to feel good, and it's worth it. The effort that we put in is worth it. I know if people are struggling with diabetes, it's hard. It's really, really hard. The system seems to be against us, but we can overcome that. It took time to get here. It took years, maybe decades, for you to develop diabetes. It maybe took a long time, so it may take time to feel whole again, but
Very
it's possible, and you can.
Very interesting information about Lafa, and this will lead us to the next part of this episode. You talked a little bit about worms, so let's talk about vermicomposting. As you know, that vermicomposting is an environmentally friendly practice. Could you share your thoughts with our audience on how vermicomposting works and its extensive impact on the environment?
Absolutely, yes. Food waste is one of the prime contributors to climate change, to global warming. It's the methane. As the food breaks down, the food scraps break down, and food waste is one of the biggest things. I mean, even a lot of food gets left in the field. It just rots there. And so managing our food waste, we all eat, we all create food waste. This is something we can all do for our part. You know, right now we put our garbage out to the curb and a magic truck comes along and takes it away. Imagine if we can do that on site and we don't have to even have the magic truck to take our food waste and paper away. We manage it on site. When I started my business 21 years ago, my goal was, it probably was very naive. It clearly was, because I'm still meeting people who haven't heard of it. I thought I'd be on a beach somewhere. No, that's not true. I don't like the beach. I'm not a beach person. I wanted to put worms in every living space, every house, every apartment, every classroom, not just one bin in a school as a project. Every community center, every business, worms everywhere. A worm bin everywhere. So when people were eating an apple, they take the apple core and they put it in the worm bin. They just know. And I realized, oh gosh, this is going to be harder, which is why I ended up going to Laughter, because one more person said, "Ew, worms in the house" in 2012. But this is a really wonderful way for us to take that wet waste out of the landfill. When we compost, we take the stink out of garbage because it's not rotting and smelling. Composting is aerobic process, meaning with oxygen. There are so many similarities between what the worms are doing and our bodies. And I joke and say, if we ate like worms, we'd kind of poop like worms. You know, we wouldn't spend hours in the little room. we would be in and out, because I don't think we're meant to sit there for several minutes reading. There's other rooms for reading. You know, and I just mean, if we had fiber in our diet and the proper things, we would flow better, which is how we're meant to. The food is meant to go in, the nutrients are taken from our body, and then the waste is taken out. That's not how it works. Some people are constipated, you know, the things get stored in their body. It's toxic waste that we're holding in our body. We need to eliminate that, which is where sprouts come in, because sprouts have the enzyme. They help to process our body and do elimination. So the worms, all of the things, I know I'm kind of all over the place. The worms are just a wonderful way for anybody that they're like, oh, I don't want worms in the house. They have 5 hearts each. They really are loving creatures. And they've been around since the dinosaur. The worms are survivors. And when I started my worm business, I used to joke and say, those with worms, a worm bin, will be the survivors if something happens. And in Canada, we import 60% of our food, 60, because we have a cold climate. We import a lot of our food from Mexico, from California, from the warmer states. So when our borders close, like 2020, we're food insecure. We're food insecure, but we just didn't know it because, you know, the border, everything's flowing in. When our border closed, wow, it became apparent very quickly. And 2020 was the biggest year for gardening. People were like, oh, maybe we should have a garden. What do we do? So that was the busiest year ever for my worm business, 2020, because people wanted to know. Like, first of all, it was the schools were closed, so they were looking for a project for the kids. And then the longer we were shut down, it was like, oh my gosh, maybe we need a garden. What do? We need soil. What do? Maybe we should get worms. Yeah, the worms are the original soil makers.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Myself, I started about 7 or 8 years ago with composting. I think this is very important. So instead of throwing waste, either for vegetables, fruits, or cardboards, papers, it's better to put them in the bin. So you make compost, then it's like feeding the soil becomes healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is adding the nutrients back in. That's exactly it. I started my business as a waste management tool and quickly realized, okay, people don't want that. They want the end product. Gardeners, I was flooded with gardeners wanting the black gold. Even though that wasn't my business model, I wanted everyone to get worms so they could make their own black gold. Yeah, in North America, we have destroyed the soil. We do acres and acres of corn, wheat, and soy. When you do monocropping, which is growing just one type of vegetable, you need to add a lot of chemicals. So our soil in North America, for the most part, is chemical dependent. We need to add those chemicals in order for the plants to grow. And as we add more and more chemicals, the pests, the bugs, the microbes become more resilient to those, just like antibiotics need to become more stronger because the bugs are becoming more resilient. Same in the fields. This is a solution to fix that. Nature has the way. When you look at the chemical companies will say, oh, you need to add the soil. Look at this. So the roots don't grow longer than a couple of inches. That's not true. When you do organic farming, you can have the roots can be a meter long. They can be the roots can go very deep into the earth because it's all workable down there. And alfalfa is is considered the father of food because the alfalfa roots go so far down. They bring nutrients and minerals up from farther down. So farmers will grow alfalfa around their farm fields so that their other crops are more nutrient rich because the minerals are coming up. We just need to look to nature for the solution. Not, the chemical engineers are super smart. They went to school for that. Nothing against that. It's just there's a place for all of this, but I don't believe that we've done the earth a service by creating these super.
Thank you for sharing
chemicals.
your thoughts and your practices as well about composting and the environment. Before we move to the next part of this, which is going to be the final part of the episode, do you have anything to talk about in terms of type 2 diabetes?
I just wanted to say my husband has type 2 diabetes, and because he eats the sprouts every day, he's been eating sprouts as well. He notices how he feels, and he is more aware. He is a person who's in his head more than in his body, which may be one of the things with folks that are suffering from any ailment. They may be more living in their head, like, oh, why do I have this, and trying to think their way out, and we need to feel our way out. So he eats the sprouts every day. And something about the sprouts, I wanted to say about when you're eating sprouts. After you've had what my husband does, after a big meal, say Thanksgiving or a holiday meal where you come together, you eat too much. One thing that he does when the stomach's so full and, oh my gosh, I feel, oops, why did I do that again? he'll have a handful of sprouts. And the sprouts, they're an enzyme. So within a few minutes, they do their beautiful work and he feels better. So the sprouts are not just something you do before a meal. You can eat them after the meal and they also work. So eating the sprouts has helped him to manage his blood sugar. And fenugreek is one of the seeds that we also sprout. Fenugreek is one of those ancient spices. It helps to regulate blood sugar, in addition to all kinds of other wonderful healing properties. So fenugreek is one of the sprouts that we eat on a regular basis as well to help regulate his blood sugar. He also was laughter hesitant for some time. He would leave the room when I did my laughter yoga last November, because laughter is high vibration. So if you're in a sad, you're feeling depressed or anxious, frustrated, you're feeling down, laughter can be an affront to your energy because it's up here. It's like really joyful. It's like joy juice. He would leave the room. Last November, I was doing a training. I teach laughter leaders. And I said, oh, there's only one person signed up for my upcoming training and they're paid, so I guess we're going ahead. And he said, maybe I'll take the training. It takes time, folks. Now he's a laughter leader too. And laughter helps us, again, to feel good. When we feel good, we want to do good. Back to the stress eating. If we can, rather than when we get stressed, we have one of those episodes where something happens and we feel bad. Maybe you test your blood sugar and it's up. Oh, I was eating so well yesterday. How come my sugar is up again? Instead of going, oh, I might as well have that cake or that cookie, why not go and have a good giggle? Go and laugh. Make that your go-to. Go and have a good belly laugh and see how you feel. It sounds like, oh, that's too simple. Is it? It's really simple to go and eat that cookie, but then you have the regrets after. Then you're like, oh, it tastes good at the moment because it's designed to make us, right? That sugar gives us those hits in our brain. Like we're like, oh, that feels good. I want to have more of that. But nutrient-wise, is it doing anything to your body other than spiking your blood sugar? So the sprouts and the laughter have helped him to manage his diabetes.
Thank you for sharing that as well. Now we have come to the final part, and I have got the last, or before we finish this episode, a question about your inspiring message. Could you leave our audience with your inspiring message, especially those suffering from type 2 diabetes?
Yes, I would say one of my favorite expressions is, without awareness, action is impossible. And you might not have known these little tips about like sprouts. Why would I eat them? How do I do it? There's lots of information online how to eat sprouts, how to grow them. So I would suggest starting your sprouting journey. That will help you without awareness. So now you're aware. So now you can take action. And same with laughter. So you can, I would say, take action for your life. It really is beautiful. Once you turn the corner and you start to feel better, you'll see. You can. It will just change everything for you. And once you change, everything changes. Because when we change, we vibrate at a different level. Your family, your friends will notice. Hey, you seem different. What did you do? And and I would say another thing is, if you don't feel like laughing, just put a smile on. Because when we smile, we send a note to our brain. I must be happy because I'm smiling. So we can trick ourselves. If you're walking, you have your closed, you have your arms across and you're small because you're feeling bad. If you take up more energy, maybe go in the bathroom, do some power posing, have your Wonder Woman stance or your Superman. and just look at yourself in the eye. This is a challenge for people that might be feeling sad. Go and look at yourself in the mirror, eye to eye, and just look at yourself for a minute or two. It's not easy, but the longer you do it, the more you say to yourself, wow, look at me, I am good, I am a good person, I am worthy, I am going to do this, and you can do it. And if you need help, reach out. There's lots of people wanting to help you today.
Thank you for sharing your inspiring message. How can people find you if they want to get in touch or learn more about you and what you do?
I would say my worm website is cathyscomposters.com, Cathy with a C, and my laughter page is cathysclub.com. Please join my Tuesday club if that time works for you. It's 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes. It's free. Come and check it out. It's so beautiful. When we feel good, we do good.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I believe in you.
Thank you, Cathy. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our amazing guest, Cathy Nesbitt, for generously sharing her expertise, insights, and time with us today. Your contribution has truly elevated this episode, and I deeply appreciate the valuable information you have provided. I want also to thank every one of you, our dedicated viewers and listeners, for being a part of this episode. If you are seeking additional assistance and support on your health journey, I encourage you to book a discovery call with me at wellnessimpact.org. During this call, we can discuss your needs and explore how I can personally assist you and address any questions you may have. If you found today's episode invaluable and insightful, I invite you to join our community of people committed to thriving with diabetes. To stay up to date for upcoming episodes, empowering discussions, and practical tips, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those who prefer other platforms such as Spotify, you can follow the Thriving with Diabetes podcast. Once again, thank you, Cathy, for being our guest today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in this impactful journey. Until next time, take care of your health and keep thriving.